And the final video for the night, as far as I'm concerned, because for you it's just a brand new video, but for me it's the third video that I'm shooting in this attire with the sparkly things going on. Just because I have no idea when I'll have enough time to shoot another series, so I might as well just do it now. Just very briefly this time, I wanted to touch upon the subject of 7 strings. Now, my channel's name, our channel's name, because we're all a family here. Slightly overcrowded, not. Please subscribe. Although the name of the channel is 6 String Overdose, I wanted to touch upon a subject involving 7 strings. And you can take this concept and extrapolate it to 8, 9, gazillion strings, whatever. And that is, I've seen a lot of people get confused with the concept of 7 strings. Now, I'm not talking about the physicality of playing 7 strings, because obviously the neck widens a bit to make room for that 7th string. You have one extra string that you have to learn how to navigate. You have to learn how to mute, because now you have one extra thing that might slip, and you're just used to like muting this much of an area, and now you have to enlarge that. So if you don't do it properly, you'll find that in the beginning you'll have 1 or 2 strings ringing out, and all of those things. You have to get like a physical familiarity with when it comes to playing 1 extra string, not to mention 2 or more extra strings. But what I wanted to talk about with you today is the theoretical concept of what it means to have this 7th string. Because a lot of people kind of freeze when they see this 7th string, because they don't really know what to do with it, because a lot of players are visual players. They've just learned their boxes and stuff like this, and now with this new added string, it's like an intruder. Basically, it's like the black sheep of the family. You just look at it and you're like, what the fuck can I do with it? Apart from everyone's favorite, you're just chugging away on the 7th string. And I'm holding a 6th string for a very good reason. Well, again, one of those reasons is this channel is 6 string overdose, but obviously not that it matters. But no, actually, why I'm using a 6th string at the moment is because I wanted to precisely show you why you should not be confused when the 7th string gets introduced on your guitar, and all of a sudden you end up with something new in your hands, as weird as it sounds. So just to make like a sort of small disclaimer, Michelangelo Badio, on his famous quad guitar, the top 2, I think, guitars had 7 strings, but those were like his original prototype, which meant the fact that he had 7 strings, but the below one, the bottom one, was just as it was just like yours. It was an E string. So actually his 7th string was on the topmost side of the spectrum right here. So he actually had an extra thin string. So instead of ending your strings with the high E, he ended it with a high A. So we're not going to talk about that configuration, although I'm going to go back to it just at the very end to make sure you understood. But in the beginning, we will discuss what has historically cemented itself to be like the 7-string recipe. And that is having a lower string whenever you're adding those strings, right? So usually if you have your 6 strings tuned to E, A, D, G, B, E, when you add the 7th string, and now I'm not talking about weird tunings or drop tunings or anything like that. If you want to maintain a standard tuning but in the 7th string version, you will naturally extend your string with a B string. So you will have E, B, G, D, A, E, and the extra one would be a B, right? So having that in mind, again, people are not used to doing things on the B string apparently, but here's the trick. On the regular 6 strings, have you ever actually realized the theoretical implications of having 2 E strings, that being the low and the E string? Well, they mirror one another. Doesn't matter that they're not in the same octave. What matters is the fact that both of them are actually E strings, like E, E, E strings. So they have the same note. So what goes for one exactly mirrors itself onto the other one. So take any shape or scale or mode or whatever, and if it traverses all strings, please see that whatever you do on the top E, you do on the bottom E, and vice versa. If you have something that doesn't go towards the top, try to extend it, and you'll see that when you extend it, what happens on the low happens on the high. What happens on the high happens on the low. Why am I bringing this up with this whole mirroring concept? Because now when you're introducing another string, the same thing applies. Why? Because after the high E, you have, well, we call it B, but we only call it B instead of the high B, is because you don't have an extra B. But now with the 7 strings, you do have the extra B. So now, not only will you have high E, low E, you'll have high B, low B. Where am I getting at? The same thing applies. So if you don't know what to do with the low B, basically, if you're playing in any key, if you know for that key or whatever you're playing in, if you know what happens on the normal B string, which now turns into the high B string, you'll automatically know what happens on the low B string. So again, it's the same mirroring concept. Now, of course, if you continue down the line with 8 string and 9 strings and so on and so forth, because there's this small inconsistency here with our standard tuning, your guitar is usually tuned in fourths. So you have fourth, 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 but then you have major third, and then again fourth. If you continue with the 8th string and you want to maintain a sort of standard tuning for 8 strings, well, again, of course you can vary, but if you want to go 1/4 below, it won't be exactly mirroring, because when you have E and B, then you have G. But again, this B to G or G to B situation is a sort of it's an exception for our tuning system. We won't go into why that happens, but if you decide to do this, you have to make sure that after B, if you want to maintain a tuning with steps of fourths, you have to no longer go into G, which would be the natural mirroring progression if you're applying the same concept, but now you have to go actually in F sharp or G flat. So just have that thing in mind, and then again from that point onwards you can go down. But usually if you're playing 8 strings, 9 strings, you're already kind of using your own augmented tunings, not in the musical sense of what an augmented interval or chord is, but or you can even do that, but you know what I'm saying. You're using your own quacky tuning with all sorts of gimmicks, like maybe open tunings, maybe drop tunings, maybe who knows what sort of tuning. So yeah, that was just a quick rant on why you should not be scared of playing a 7-string from a theoretical point of view. And just like I promised, going back into the whole Michelangelo video version of the 7-string, if let's say you would want to have his setup, meaning not going below E, but keeping E, A, D, G, B, E, and having an extra A, a high A. Notice what we're doing. Now we have a high A, so you have EA, then you have EA. Guess what I'm about to say? The same mirroring concept applies. If you know what to do with this A, you would know what to do with that A. So again, I just wanted to further emphasize on the fact that the same thing applies, whether you're going upwards or downwards with the, as far as the string extension goes, where you decide to extend the range of the guitar. So yeah, if you're like a metal enthusiast and you want to experiment with 7 strings and stuff like that, don't be discouraged about the fact that you'll have no idea what to do with the 7-string. It's just a very natural progression, just like the rest of your fretboard. You have EB, then you'll have again EB, or whatever tuning you're in. Again, this doesn't cover. None of these things that I've discussed, none of them covers the physical implications of what it means to play a 7 or 8 strings or whatever number of strings. Like I said, there's gonna be problems in the beginning with muting, both on the picking hand and on the fretting hand. You'll see that they're slightly noisier because now you have more mass, you have more strings, a lot more chances of things to ring out and to interfere and stuff like that. But once you kind of learn how to control these things, you're good to go. For example, I know for a fact that Andy James, in one of his older interviews, when he was discussing about his back then latest edition 7-string, when he was still with his LTDs, he was saying that he loves his 7-string, but for some reason he still feels like the 7-string as an instrument, because of these aspects that I've just mentioned, it tends to be a little bit more noisy, a bit noisier, because of the whole thing with muting and resonance and stuff like this, and interference happening and so on and so forth. So he kind of alluded to the fact that although he needs the 7-string for certain parts and he loves to use it, still his main go-to guitar, his main go-to guitar was the 6-string. Fast forward a couple of years, just what I said, he got used to it, and now it's probably the opposite because, now he's with Kiesel, but now all of his guitars, if I'm not mistaken, all of them are 7-strings. I don't think he has any 6-string, or if he has, anyway, I've seen him mostly with 7-strings nowadays, so he got used to them just like he played them from day one. Probably, who knows, maybe now when he goes back to a 6-string, it feels a little bit awkward in the opposite direction. So he would need to readjust a bit probably on the 6 strings. Who knows? But my main point was that Also, he experienced sort of like a small transition period where he noticed and was aware of these differences. So don't be scared if you will experience them as well. But if you keep on to playing the 7th string on a regular basis, it'll incorporate itself into your playing and into your hands, physiognomy and whatnot, in just a matter of time. So yeah, now that we're kind of done with this video, which is my third in this lovely attire t-shirt of very much forgotten past that I just happened to bump upon in my closet, and it's sparkly pink, although it doesn't show off in the camera the way I see it. I guess I should let you go by now because you're probably late for supper and I'm late for sleeping because it's way past midnight, and I sort of stink, I think. I don't know, might be the dead roaches or whatever. Don't have such anymore. Used to when I was living in the students' frat bedrooms, and it was all a party hall mess. Yeah, too many details for you, at least. For me, it's good reminiscing. So yeah, till next time, leave me a like, dislike, but be sure to click the dislike twice. Suggestions, love, hate, stuff like that. Subscribe, unsubscribe. Maybe you can help me go to 200 subscribers. Maybe. Have no idea. Maybe if you're seeing this far into the future, from when I'm releasing this video, I'll be even way past 200. Maybe I'll be in the 250s. Yeah, and I don't have a K after the 3 digits, so that's a problem. Or maybe not, considering the nature of content I'm putting out. So yeah, go waste your life somewhere else on the internet, probably even some other platform. So yeah, see ya next time, I hope. Yeah, who knows, but yeah. Brain fog right now. Ending the video in 3